All right, so let me bring back the screen. I think I've done this before. Where the heck did it go? There it is. All right, so a little bit of WordPress news and events. It's kind of funny. There was like almost nothing for months, and then suddenly end of the year, and things are ramping up a little bit. So I guess the big one is coming up soon, very soon, December 2nd, WordPress 6.9. And I was saying to Gene earlier on, it kind of felt like, at least for me, this whole year in terms of WordPress releases has really been I'll admit, kind of disappointing, like not a lot. And I know there's other stuff that was going on in the WordPress sphere and all that. But in terms of the actual core, I kind of felt like this year was a real bummer for anything interesting. But who knew? 6.9 looks like there's gonna be actually quite a bit of stuff packed into that for maybe our holiday gifts. So new blocks, site editor improvements, et cetera, et cetera. There is actually, I think it's release candidate 2, I believe, is out now. So that's probably wrong. So if you're interested, you can try it out in a using the beta plugin or Playground. Playground's probably the safest place to do it. But I think this one's definitely, Peter will, I think we'll take a look at this next month because it'll be out by then. So we'll spend a lot more time looking at it there. But this one looks interesting. A lot of cool new things in it. And just other kind of quick news slash reminder, I'm sure all of us know, and Sue led into this as well. Black Friday slash Cyber Monday, always a good time to look out for deals. So, look out for hosting deals, plugin services. I put a couple of links in here, just the ones that I've looked at in the past. I really love to know ones that folks are looking at, ones that are more like aggregator types. Throw them in the chat window if there's something that you go to and it looks interesting. This is just the one that I had looked at in the past. Just kind of an aggregator of multiple deals. A lot of, like as Sue was saying, I think some good ones here, especially if you're look in the market for something in particular. But just always be cautious. Sometimes something that looks like a great deal may not actually be. Look at the price over time if you can. Another one, check for any limitations. I know in the past I've gotten slightly burned on things where like, oh, it's a great deal. Then if you start to use it, like, oh, I only get X number of credits, or oh, it's limited to X number of sites, or whatever. Which so anyway, just be sure to read the fine print. Don't go crazy. And then there's ones for those of us who buy too many things. Make sure you haven't bought it before, or have something very similar. Just before you buy it, just maybe take a look. Maybe you bought it through AppSumo or something else, or you have something that's very, very similar. So just again, so some caution there. But good time to look for top up deals. Like I said, there's some great ones out there for Black Friday. So that's kind of my news for now. Or tooler tip or plugin spotlight. Peter, you got anything for
Yeah,
us?
sure do. Well, the funny thing is a part of what you just did stole some of my stuff,
Oh,
which is
I'm
good.
sorry.
Which is a good thing I had an extra in there. Let's see. Where's
Oh,
oh,
sorry. Yeah, I was gonna make it go too. Sorry.
no worries, I got it now.
That's right. Let me do it too.
Yeah. You see my screen now?
Yeah.
Great. Okay, yeah. So I was going to talk a little bit about first of all, extra news. The whole Cloudflare thing this
Mm.
anybody who's on Cloudflare. It was a big thing. I'm glad I don't use Cloudflare. I never understood why everybody, when I say everybody, why many people have this as the number one top thing you should be doing when you have a website is make sure that you use Cloudflare. When I used Cloudflare a while ago, it slowed down all my sites. So I never went back and I never quite understood why it was the be all end all. And today proved where there was a problem with this third party that was in between anybody wanted to visit your website and your website, kind of controlling that traffic and things like Twitter and well, God, all kinds of things went down. It was a big deal. So if you couldn't get onto things this one, and here's another thing that's kind of interesting. Namecheap, for example, is a registrar, and Namecheap uses Cloudflare.
Mhm.
And people couldn't get onto Namecheap to change their DNS to not use Cloudflare because both their sites and their registrar. So that was really
I
interesting.
had a weird one too that's related to this too, real quickly. So I was setting up Fluent Forms Pro on a client site, and it's the API key check was failing because Fluent Forms was down. And I scratched my head for a minute, like, oh, wait a minute. I put two and two together. So yeah, definitely things that you don't think necessarily.
Yeah, just everything's connected. So
Yeah.
So the Black Friday things you had mentioned, the WP Weekly, I was going to say, this is one of the sources that is a good one. I forget his name. He's been doing this for years, and his newsletter is really good too. Then there is WP Builds, which is a podcast that it goes weekly, and he has something on WP Builds. Black Friday is just a link right at the top of his link. But one that, again, folks don't know about Influence WP enough. I've mentioned it before as one of the tips. I'll mention it again. What I really respect about what happens at Influence WP is that there are no affiliate links here. And he does Ryan is the guy who does this, and he works hard to make sure that the deals are as good as he can get. And they're not going to be some other undercut deals, and he makes no money from them. So it's kind of it's a factor. But yeah, so Influence WP has his Black Friday, and then the add-on tip, based on the fact that we already talked about Black Friday a little bit, is for those who don't know, the Affinity image software is now completely free. This is in effect a competitor to the Adobe Photoshop, InDesign, and the other one. There's three. They were acquired by Canva a while ago, and now it's all come together. So now they have the free software, and then they also have, so it went completely free, but there is additional stuff you get if you have a Canva premium plan. And that stuff is basically all in the AI world. So if you're doing, generating a background for something, or replacing a body part, or whatever you do, that the Photoshop tools have, now to do that, you're going to be using Canva, because if you want to. But other than that, if you're doing just creating images and editing graphics and vector images and things like that, the entire Affinity suite is completely free now.
Is this a desktop? Peter, sorry, because I haven't used Affinity before. Is it a desktop application, or is it a web app?
It's a download desktop, no subscription. It's pretty great. I've been using it as a replacement for Photoshop. I kind of go back and forth, because I bought Affinity a while ago, and I actually have Canva. So like for me now, now they work together. But yeah, that the Affinity Studio, affinity.studio, is the link to get Affinity, and costs you nothing to get some pretty strong image and graphic tools, management tools.
Excuse me, Peter, do you run Photoshop and Affinity on the same desk, on the same computer, and they don't conflict with each other?
Yeah, I do.
And they don't like auto take over like PSD files or something like that?
No, I mean, there's always going to be, if you double click on something, whatever you have assigned to be your main thing, which is why I always right click and then pick the one that I want. So that's kind of my
well, that was a good question, Sue.
Yeah.
A nice feature of Affinity is that everything is from one desktop. In other words, you're working on a project and you can switch between vector and Illustrator type work and page maker type work, all on one screen without having to switch programs.
Yeah, and that's actually relatively new, that feature, because you were
Yeah, they're called personas. He has them on the screen now. I thought you did. There's pixel, vector, layout. Yeah.
So Peter, what do you mainly use it for?
We're talking to Robert.
No,
Peter, what do you mainly use it for?
I'm just doing primarily when I need to tweak something, the photo editing. I've got an image, if I need to for cropping, for basically for anything that I need. The one thing I have not used it for yet is for one client, I'm working on a print catalog, and I'm doing that in InDesign, and they have a version of that. I've never had the the guts to go and see how much that, because it's such a big project in Adobe InDesign, that
Right.
to over to
Yeah, you'd have to redo it all and learn
yeah,
a new tool
yeah,
and
I
everything.
haven't done that. But as far as vector images and dealing with that, SVG files and EPS files and things like that.
Well, anything's got to be easier than Illustrator, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Well,
My first use of it was because Microsoft has announced end of life for Publisher,
Yeah.
which is a page maker program that I've used, and with a year's warning, it's going to sunset sometime next year. So I'm moving my page layout stuff to Affinity.
There you go.
it's cool. I gotta try it out.
That sounds like another little thing we can all learn about, right?
There you go. Exactly.
It's
We'll
within
start
the
up a meetup.
space of, it's within that sphere of website building. So yeah, absolutely. All right, well, let's jump into, so tonight's topic. We're just going to kind of set it up a little bit, and it's going to be very informal as we've been doing some of these live demos versus real slides. So again, we're going to be talking about the Ollie theme, but we're going to use this as sort of a springboard to just talk about the state of the different types of themes today. So we'll talk about what those different types of themes are and kind of where Ollie fits into that. And I'm really excited for folks on here who've actually used Ollie for building a site. I'll admit, for me, it was just my first introduction to it. I think I'd heard of it a couple of times, maybe from Peter or from others here, but my first introduction to this really was getting ready for this presentation. So I'm as new as you can get. But anyway,
And
so
and let me jump in real quick. About 2 hours ago, I sent an email to Ray, and I said to Ray, "How do you feel about tonight? Because I've been trying to work with Ollie, and I am not having any fun in it." So,
and that's okay.
all that being said, and Sue, the conversation about is this a replacement for Cadence? I'm
Not
going
for
to say
Peter.
at the bottom, I'm going to preface the whole thing with, it feels like if you buy the pro version and all the tools that come with that,
Yeah.
but other than that,
Are you
some-
comparing the free version of Ollie? I'm sorry, are you comparing free version of Cadence to free version of Ollie or paid to paid?
Free. I'm doing free to free, at least for now. I think
Okay.
that's always a starting point. So yeah, that's going to be our discussion today. Although I want to hear from others who are familiar
Okay.
with paid features and talk about that. Again, we can talk about it from a cadence standpoint too. So again, teeing up this topic a little bit, we've looked at we had a fun one, was it in the summer or prior to the summer? We kind of randomly picked a theme. It was like the spin the wheel, and whatever theme picked up, Peter had one and then I had one. We just said, all right, let's figure it out on the fly. And we had fun. I hope others had fun doing that, but doing this in a little bit more formal way. One of the reasons we wanted to look at Ollie is, I'll speak for myself at least, and Peter jump in here, is, and I was talking this with Gene before others joined, full site editing, I have mixed feelings on it. I'll admit. I think it's in a better shape than it was, but I still have concerns about it, even where it is right now. And again, maybe WordPress 6.9 will add improvements and things like that. But I will admit my main exposure to full site editing has been through the themes built into WordPress. So, and tonight I'll show that a little bit too. So, like the 2025 theme, which, is that a fair comparison to say like where full site editing / block themes are? Maybe, maybe not. So, what I was excited about is looking at Ollie, because here is somebody else who I know is well known in the community, and they've built something with full site editing, a block theme. So I was excited to see, okay, how well does like the WordPress internal WordPress world vision of this extend to somebody else doing it? So that was kind of my take on this. So just in terms of like again, I think most folks here know in terms of the types of themes right now, I guess I don't know if there's a formal classification, but I know Peter, you've said a couple times there's kind of classic, there's block theme / full site editing, and then hybrid, I guess is.
there's hybrid. So Ray, if I can give you my perspective on
Mhm.
why we wanted to talk about Ollie from where I come from, and all was yeah. First of all, the whole um, classic theme, which is what we're used to with the customizer. Um, that's kind of the most simple way to describe it. The whole way it's done on the back end is completely different versus full site editing, which is this ever evolving project. And I will, as I often do, I will editorialize a little bit throughout the night. But and then the hybrid, which is we're trying to take some of the features and move them in. The reason I thought Ollie would be really good is because it's got the buzz from the full site editing and a lot of experts. And in fact, and Sue mentioned our Friday call. The call is headed by Brian Gardner. Brian Gardner, he's with WP Engine, but if anybody's been around long enough and the Genesis theme, which was kind of the breakout theme in WordPress, Brian was very involved with that theme. So his history goes way back, and he's a theme creator, and he has all of the respect in the world for Mike McAllister, who's got Ollie. He really thinks that they've kind of knocked it out of the park in a lot of ways. And there's also a lot of talk about, parts of Ollie or the Ollie menu builder should be put in core. So it's like, wow, it is a super fantastic tool. So let's take a look. And that's what we did. And that's where we are. And this is where I'm hoping Ray and some of our other attendees can help me understand things that I'm not getting on it. So
I guess the one other type of theme I would throw out there just for discussion, not to know, I'm not sure if it's classified as its own separate thing, but those, let's say, much more developer centered themes like and it was bricks, and then what's the other one that's kind of like the hot like theme for developers. Peter was one of the other ones we were going to talk about for tonight originally.
Oh, so not bricks, but and then the whole etch world, which is kind of from that.
I forget what the other kind of hot one right now is besides bricks. It's a tip of my tongue escaping me. But those themes are more, I don't know where they fit in necessarily, because they're kind of like, I don't know. They're to me they are like developer centered themes. With some of these, as we talk about why, and for people, it's funny. Jean had said that when Jean first started using WordPress, her first exposure was to full site editing. I'm like, wow, okay, so that's a very interesting perspective to have versus some of us who've come from classic themes, seeing the evolution. So again, I don't think we only need one type of theme. I think it's good that the ecosystem has multiple types of themes. So anyway, so that's kind of the setup of. I would say Ollie definitely fits into full site editing / a block theme. So again, what makes in we were talking about before too. So there's a paid version of Ollie and then the free version of Ollie. So the free version on the repository, we'll talk about what you get and what you don't get with that versus the pro version. But why Ollie to begin with? If you look at their site, it says it's create stunning responsive websites, expertly crafted design library, and builder toolkit. So we'll go into a lot of this in detail as we walk through the theme. So again, full site editing, no code, low code. Here are just some of the promises. So we're going to look at some of these promises. And I'm not picking on Ollie, but it's just one of those like things to help understand how is this different than some of the other themes that we've worked with, and can we really test some of these claims? So again, pattern designs, typography, colors, et cetera, et cetera. This is probably the big one I think we want to maybe just talk about now, because in my mind, this seems to be the biggest things that initially distinguished Ollie from other full site editing themes like 2025, whatever. It was this setup wizard.
Mhm.
So there's a video still on the site, and I think on the pro version in particular, that shows you how that setup wizard worked. But if anyone actually has used it, I'd love for someone to chime in. But my understanding was it basically was like or is kind of like a conversational form thing, as you go through and say, here's the kind of site I want, here's the pages I want, and you're basically through this wizard choosing like to import content and basically create like a shell of a site for you. Well, the problem is on at least the problem on the free version of Ollie that you get from the repository, that's not there. And from doing a little bit of digging, doing my homework here, it sounds like there was a bit of a controversy in the beginning about that had to get pulled. So I see Peter's nodding. If you have
Yeah,
more.
I could fill you in on that because this is where the other part of my involvement with Ollie actually goes back to before it was in the repository, because there was a whole process where again, Mike McAllister, his partner, and I think that came out of there's also a theme called Rock Base, which is another very solid theme. But anyway, their claim to fame at the beginning of all of this was the startup wizard. That whole idea of how do you onboard somebody into WordPress in such a way that can, again, yeah, relatively conversationally bring somebody along and get them started, where all of a sudden a website can be generated. Now, what I will often come back to is that it's like, while that was there are other tools that do that. Cadence has one, for example, and not to keep harping on that. But where the issue came in is that when the theme finally got put into the repository, or in the process, the issue of the startup wizard became this topic of pretty major discussion as to what should be included in a theme versus what should be a plugin. And so they pulled it, and they pulled, because the original version had it built in, and they had to not put it that version on repository, and they kind of went back to their own development world. And then Ollie Pro and then the Ollie Free that is in the repository came out that does not have that startup wizard. So to get that startup tool, that's the paid version. So that was a whole thing.
That seems to be one of the big features of this theme, was that wizard, which, we'll talk about that. Conspiracy hat on for a second. I wonder if it's because WordPress.com wants something like that eventually, and this would be competing. But anyway, I think so. Neither here nor there. So yes, the pro version, the big difference is you get that setup wizard with it, which looks kind of neat. But to be honest, what the setup wizard, you can still do everything that the setup wizard was doing for you. You just have to find it. And I think that's the struggle of the full site editing types of themes. It's going to the different places to set the thing up, and et cetera, et cetera. So that it seemed like a friendlier way to kind of start with something from rather than starting from scratch. So it just that was a big benefit of it. And then some of these other things we'll look at a little bit in terms of performance, SEO, mobile optimized, drag and drop, and so a lot of the rest of it seems to be kind of pushing the performance aspects of it. So we'll do a little bit of testing that, because I've done some slight testing on my own. I just want to compare my results with others. And then here again, design. I think to me, without spoilers, I think a lot of this is the pre-built patterns, and that's it. Just the pre-built styling things. That seems like one of the huge benefits of this theme. That there's a nice looking library, which we'll take a look at, of pre-built stuff. So this is the wizard, et cetera, et cetera. So anyway, I was kind of keep this in the background of things we'll look at a bit. So I can jump in, Peter. We can go back and forth a little bit. So on my demo site, maybe what I'll do is I'll kind of show the differences. I'll do a couple things, and then Peter, I'll stick to more of the site editing stuff. And if you want to show more of the patterns and things like that, and then we could hop around and do whatever others want us to show.
Yeah, I mean, I can show you what I've discovered so far.
Okay.
And with the guidance of other people. Again, I keep tipping my hand to the fact that my inexperience with full site editing, even with effort going into it, continues to be like I literally had to do AI searches for why is this one feature that is supposed to be part of full site editing, which is that the zoom feature, not where it's supposed to be. And it's
you'll see me struggle.
There's a bug. It all came down to, well, there's a bug, and it kind of sometimes works and kind of sometimes doesn't. And that was like, oh, well, now I can see why people get frustrated with following the instructions that don't work because it's exactly what I was doing for the last 2 days.
You'll see me struggle a bit too. There's things that still are, and things are moving around still too. So that's part of, I think, the issue. It's not completely baked. So we just got to start off by showing like this site again. This is the one. If you've been here for other demos, this is kind of my generic site. So this unfortunately site has had so much stuff done to it. I was like, should I start from scratch? I'm like, nah. I want to keep the content, and I'm lazy. So this basic WordPress site right now. This is the 2025 theme. So this is a full site editing theme, and obviously I've installed the free version of Ollie. So let's just switch that and kind of show, just immediately this would be true of any other theme. But once we activate it, what does it do out of the box? And I'll admit, I think I've already tweaked some of the design stuff for it, but just to kind of show you, here we go. It's changed the blog archive page, so it's made it a nice kind of 2-column, featured image, et cetera, a little bit of styling to it. So and you can see there's a nice footer, nice header. So it looks nice in some ways to me, like the styling looks similar to kind of what you get from Cadence as well. Just activating it, that alone, like, oh, this is starting to look nicer than kind of a default. So again, anytime we talk about site editing, these full site editing themes, like what are they? One of the cores of what they are is this, in the full site editor itself. You have this combination of, here's where you set your menus, navigation, styles, pages, templates, patterns. So I'll leave patterns to Peter because that's the thing I think we don't even have to go into full site editor too much with. But let's start kind of with the styles. This is one of the big things. So, as they said, it comes with a variety of styles, and so did the 2025 theme. But I think the 2025 theme styles always struck me as a little bit ugly or not the greatest ones out there. These are, a bit nicer. So there's, your default agency, creator, startup, studio. So again, if you're not familiar with the full site editor, once you pick a style, that includes not just color palette things, but that includes typography, style, additional look and feel to your site. But what's nice is that these variations, you can just quickly say, all right, I want it to look like, what did I do? I did the agency one. So, what does that do to my site? If I go back here, look at my site, it's changed the background. Oh, I think I was on agency. Sorry, let me flip to another one instead. I can go, again, more than one place to do these things, but this is where it gets a little bit funny. Like back to the design. All right, no, that's not where I want to go. Let me go back the way that I know. I went down a wrong road of full site editing. So let me change my style. So I was on agency. Let's go to startup. And okay, so I've changed my style. So I'm taking everything with it. I can still override these too. That's one nice thing about all the themes that, if I like some of this, but let's say I want to change typography, I can always do that. But just, these are the ones that Ollie comes with, these 5 different styles. So what did changing it to that one do? It's subtle. It's the font looks a bit different. The background color is just a different shade. But it's like I said, it's subtle. It's probably not a bad thing. You don't want things to be too garish. The other thing again from a site editing standpoint is besides the styling. We go to editor. Besides the styling, the other big thing is the templates that it comes with. So the page templates. So Ollie doesn't really have a lot of them, but it has the basics. So, it provides you a template, and you can modify these afterwards too. It provides a template for archive pages. Your index is kind of your fallback, like a regular full width page, page with a sidebar, 404, et cetera, search results. So it's really not a lot. It's 8 of them. I don't know if the pro version, does anyone know, does the pro version give you more than 8 templates?
I'm on their page. I could look.
Yeah, I'm curious what else they would have added.
It says 15 plus page designs.
The pages I think are different. Yeah, that we're going to come up to later.
And 4 templates and 50 related patterns, 50 plus related patterns.
And the patterns will come up as well later. So these are just the regular core templates. So maybe it doesn't give you more than this. I mean, to be honest, like, page with sidebar, yeah, I've seen some themes in the past used to be page with sidebar on the left, page with sidebar on the right. It's
Right.
like, is that really a variation? I can move it around myself, and so yeah. So it like I said, I think this is okay from me personally. You don't want to get overwhelmed with too many of these. And again, for people who aren't familiar, you can do this with any theme, but this one in particular, if I go back to let me go back to one of these guys. And this I'm kind of with you, Peter. Of like I'm showing you the way I do things, which is probably
Yeah.
not the most efficient of your others useful. So editing or cringing, saying no, you don't have to do that. You can just do this other way. But it's like I'll go into this post. Oh, I'm sorry, I don't want to go post. I want to go to a page instead. Sorry about that. I want to look at a page. And this one, if I want to change my template, so I think this is using the full width template. If I want to use one of the existing templates, let's say I want to change my template, not page with sidebar. I want to change it to, where is my other template? I don't want to edit the template. I just want one of my other templates. Or maybe that's the only one for pages. Maybe it's under posts that I changed it. Sorry. Let me go back to where I was before. Let me bring up my post again.
I'm
Yeah.
curious if you're running into the same challenge I had. You were looking for a specific template.
Yeah, I was looking for a template. Well, here we go. So this is, I can do without the sidebar. So there we go. That got rid of the sidebar, but that's not the default template for a post.
You have to go back to templates
Or
and
use
then
default
and then
template.
go to all templates.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Back on that page, you mean?
No, go back to editor.
Oh, back to the editor. Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh,
And
you're
then
right. It's applying it to all. Yeah.
no, yeah, appearance editor,
Yeah.
and then go to templates,
Right.
and then all, and then you'll see them there.
Right.
But I have to say you're seeing much more than I am because you put content in there. I didn't put any content in.
So what I was trying to get to is the single, oh, maybe it was this. Maybe it's because I've edited my single post to add a sidebar. Maybe that's what I did. Or I put stuff into the sidebar. So this is again, yeah, sorry. I didn't start a fresh one, so I was playing around with this. So what I did here, you may not see this, is in this sidebar, I think all it had in here was this template text. So again, when you're in your a template editing view, this is my content area. In here, I have, latest posts. But inside of this area, there it is. Inside the sidebar, all it had was this text template. So I dropped in, because you can add these as widgets, I dropped in latest posts in categories. So in theory, if I wanted to get rid of the whole sidebar, this is one way I could do it, is I could remove it from here. I thought there was another template though that didn't have the sidebar. So yeah,
There
switching
is
templates.
there's one that's just that's just a post, a single post. And this one is page with sidebar, I think.
See, and mine says single post, but I don't remember if that's because I made it look like that to begin with.
I was going to say it's funny that yours says single post because that's what mine looks like for a page with sidebar.
Did you rename it, or did
How'd you
yours?
do that, Ray?
I
No, I
don't
just
know.
downloaded
I don't
it.
remember. It's like this is when you go
So
too far with demos, you start putting things
No,
in.
it's so funny because I haven't used it in a long time and I've been using 2025 or 2024. And so I thought, oh, I'm up for this. Like I'm working on a new site and I thought, let's play around with it. I have a hard time with how purple everything is. I'm like, okay, enough
Yeah.
with Brian and Mike going purple. I'm like, what's up with the purple? But then this client like wanted me to add lavender to her logo. So I'm just like, okay, sounds like we're on the purple theme after all.
Right. So there
now
wasn't,
there's something, Ray.
go ahead.
If you go to the three dots next to one of them, I do know that when I was fiddling around, then you get basically a reset,
Oh, there we go.
and it
There you go, Peter. That's it. Yeah.
I learned something today.
You get your full
Oh,
site.
you didn't know that before?
Nope.
No. Nope.
Okay.
No, No,
I didn't know the magic three dots there and
yeah,
the
Three dots are everywhere, and they're
yeah.
like the little secret, the
yeah.
secret key of
But
tapping your heels
it's
together.
funny though because I could swear, and again, I don't know, maybe it's when I was doing testing stuff. I could swear I didn't add an entire sidebar there, but I guess I did. I guess I must have dropped a sidebar in at some point of that.
So I'll do my quick little injecting kind of the caveats and the editorializing of the things that what I'm dealing with full site editing that I'm trying to fix or trying to understand better going forward. So one of the benefits that we have with
Yeah,
the
there we
classic
go.
themes is you deal with the header, you deal with the footer, and now you're only dealing with the content. Full site editing isn't it great? You can do anything all you want, but until you change stuff you didn't know that you were changing because you didn't know that you were in, you have to be really aware. And for example, I think right there, I mean, because I did something similar where all I was trying to do is how do I make something a homepage, and it
Right.
was like I went down kind of so
Yeah, and my problem was twofold. One is I thought there was a template that was just a single post without a sidebar. My bad. I apparently had modified the single post template unbeknownst to myself the other day and actually added a sidebar. So there was no other template out there for me to drop it to. What I probably should have done if I was smart is, again, this is going back to full site editing experience. It's very different than a regular theme because now you can edit the theme. That's full site editing. So if you end up messing around or screwing up a template, maybe one of the core templates, you can reset it as we learned. But I think the better practice would be to first make a copy and then edit and call it whatever your variation is. So you kind of have the old one out there, which this is probably a little bit of a side tangent. But I don't know, we've talked about this before with like cadence. Where do child themes fit into this new full site editing world? Because I know on the Ollie theme, I don't know where it was, someplace under the downloads or docs, you can download just a blank like child theme template for Ollie. So I'm curious, other folks, Elisa and others who've used full site editing, where do you stand on child themes with a full site editor? Is it still something you do, or is it best practice to still do that like we used to back in the day with classic themes?
I still do it, but that's me. And I know, like, you know this too, Peter. Like, lots of people don't, you
right,
know?
yeah,
So,
exactly.
Gene, how
yeah.
about you?
I, I I use the plugin create a theme,
Yeah,
create theme.
create a block thing. I
Yeah.
forgot that Mike had offered that there is a way that you can download he offered so many things. It was
Yeah.
amazing. And I haven't looked at the new one and I didn't see that option when I opened it up, but maybe it's there and
What does
I
that
just
plugin
missed
do
it.
again? I know we talked about it in the past.
Create block theme.
Yeah.
hmm
No, so what does it do? What does it actually?
You can do so many things and you can keep saving your child up to it, or you can make a new one and start from there. That's what I've been using for a while, quite a while now.
This is the plugin create.
So
Create
you
block
just so what I do, so like I make the changes on it and then I do the with the create block theme plugin, create a child from this one, the one I've just done. Okay. All right.
Yeah,
As long as
so
we're all doing the same thing.
yeah, it create I put the link in it, but
Oh,
and I do know this is a go-to for most of the people that we work with when talking to it, and it's create a new theme based on the currently active theme. So it's basically like when you're active,
plumbing things, yeah.
and it just creates for you the proper file structure behind, as I understand it. So
these are the options. It's kind of a mess, but I'm gonna put them in there.
Create a
So you
blank
can
theme, new theme. Yeah, I'm looking
Oh,
at the
sorry, I included the name, but anyway, okay. So you can export it as a zip. So like, let's say you make the whole idea was pretty cool, was that a lot of us were kind of getting to the point of maybe I just want to have my own theme, you
right.
know? And then this is a great way to create your own theme and then save it as a zip file with all your cool stuff in it. And then you can use it for other clients and change it and either make it as a child or whatever and just do it that way. So you could do that. You can export it, or you can start from scratch, or you can create a clone, or you can create a child. So that's all in the thing. And then it says like all this information about the plugin and the FAQ. Once you go to, you have to go to Appearance, create block theme to get to the information about it after you've downloaded the plugin.
Okay,
Right.
so it's all right. That makes sense.
Mhm.
I'm curious.
And
That's
believe
funny.
me, you could do a whole class on create a block theme. It's like,
Oh, there's our suggestion, I guess, for the future.
I'm not kidding, because one
Yeah.
woman did it a long time ago when it first, what was her name? She was really nice. She's now into training more. She doesn't do
Okay.
this anymore, but she was super cool, and she was fine with me going, but what about this and what about that? And it was a great class. It was an online class for
So this is an interesting, you're right, it's a tool. So where does this fit into our spectrum of, we've got the classic themes, we've got the
Mhm.
block themes, we've got the hybrids, and then we've got the tools to create the the,
Yeah.
the theme to begin with, or to clone something existing. So, okay, interesting. Well, let me
And you see, this is a WordPress.org
yeah, yeah,
plugin,
'cause
right?
we've
Yeah.
talked about it before. I just mentioned it. I think I played with it a little bit, but yeah, I wasn't thinking about it in this context. It's definitely one of the things I'm still wrapping my head around was in classic themes, best practice was because you had to, best practice was if I want to change a page template, I've got to make a child theme. So that's the way I can,
Right.
preserve what I've done, not get overridden. For me, my head gets very confused about with these block themes, as you saw. I know there's some things, and this where it gets even more confusing. Some things are locked down. I know we're getting a little bit out of Ollie here, sorry, but it's, there's certain templates, for example. No, it's not the templates. I'm sorry. It's the patterns that are locked down. We'll get to this, I think, later, right? So some things have locks. I can't go in here and edit these. But
Mhm.
back to the actual templates though, none of these are locked. So for example, in the archives, it's set up right now as this group is going to be a post grid of what, two, and I always forget this, to the template of two. But let's say I'm like, I really want three. All right, let me save that. This is actually saving that template. I've overridden
Mhm.
the two column layout.
Right.
Can I insert here?
Yes, please.
Technically, you haven't.
Hmm.
The templates are hard coded HTML in the theme file structure. When you edit a template in a full site block theme, you're not writing those files. You're saving it to post content in the database. So when you hit those three dots and do reset, all it does is reload the HTML from the file structure and dumps your database overwrite, right?
Gotcha.
So it's
Yep.
the thing that create block theme did most was once you've made your site like you want it and you want to write out your own theme or a child theme, is that create block theme lets you save your changes that are in the database directly to the file structure, at
Gotcha.
which point you can't reset back to the original.
So you're the
You've
new, your theme is the new baseline in a sense.
your theme is your news, and you can either overwrite the original theme, you can save it as your own new theme, or you can save it as a child theme. So it gives you a lot of flexibility, and there's just a bunch of other tools in there too. But it's because you're not really editing the files; you're just creating copies, if you will, in the database.
Right. That's good, Eagle. Yeah, again, this is
Used to be when it first was out, you'd see a little blue dot right next to the template that meant, oh yeah, this is a database copy. I guess they've done away with that. I don't know, but
Hey,
anyway.
Eagle, can I ask you where are you these days? What is your theme of choice? Are you full in on block themes, and do you have a favorite? Oh, you're bricks now, right?
No, I mean, yes, I'm bricks, I'm Edge, I'm Divi, I'm Elementor, Beaver Builder. I work with all of those because I do a lot of monthly maintenance and web care. But when I in my help desk, I tell people use either Astra or Generate Press. If you want to have a lot more control, Generate Press is the better one with Generate Blocks. And for me, that's still the easiest to use. I just converted a Divi site that was a nightmare. Converted into a Generate Press and Generate Blocks theme, and it took 10 hours. And now it's way faster on the same server. And the server was not a slouchy server. It was somebody's Peak Freak Grid Pane server. It's really, performance server, but it's way faster.
Can I ask you though, Eagle, when you say it was a real pain, what besides the performance improvements, what else was the pain? Was it taking, again, I'm familiar with Divi, was it taking like the Divi modules and having to rebuild, finding the right new module to rebuild that in the new theme?
It was more, it was the fact that it was a huge conglomerate of stuff that was a membership site. There was event plugins. There were things that worked that didn't work. To get events calendar to work with Divi, you have to add all these other plugins and all this
Was it
stuff.
so much like if they had used like the straight Divi, just modules and things like that? Because I think one of the things that we're going to talk about tonight is, I think about it too, because I've gone from Divi in its time before full site editing. I said this for years too, is like in Elementor and all these other page builders, they work great. And for some people, they still do, because even today, I think they still do things that full site editing doesn't quite do yet. But one of the challenges was, we always talked about this. People always poo-pooed page builders to say, well, now you're locked in. If you switch themes, everything's gone. It's like that for almost any theme, even full site editing themes, which we'll show. I'll do a couple of demos, I think, on that later. So that's why I just want to understand that it's like these things aren't magic out of full site editing. There's still pieces to this that are, the problem hasn't gone away. So Peter, maybe with that, I'll stop on full site editing for a minute. Do you want to show a little bit of the patterns? I think I really think that's one of the key things of Ollie's, the patterns that come with it.
Yeah, very good. I will do my darndest.
Let's see what other next thing I can.
But yeah, running, figuring out, running into, where the problems and the challenges are. And I'll do yet another kind of, one of the things that I noticed with all of the kind of the history, paying attention to stuff and watching too many of Mike McAllister's Ollie videos on YouTube, which are really good, but it's hard to watch them repetitively. There's a certain style he's got and all, but one of the things that I really am sensitive to and pay attention to, and as anybody who's on that Friday call I am with Brian Gardner, some of the soapbox stuff I have is the conversations that are all from the developer side versus from the DIY person who's, managing the site on their own, whether it's at their small company, a nonprofit, a blogger, or whatever. And sometimes the language is all focused on the developer. The other thing that you have to be careful of too is a kind of false dichotomy, or the things that reference, we could never do this before and now we can do this thing. And it's like, in the world that you were in, the tool you were using before, you couldn't do it, but you weren't using maybe the tools that I was doing it, because I've been doing some of these things for years. So there's some really interesting conversations that happen around all of the WordPress tools that we have here, where it's like, it sometimes it's hard to swallow some of the things. Is like, isn't this the most revolutionary thing you've never been able to do, because the only way you could do it before is go into CSS and HTML and special code and be a PHP developer. And it's like, no, but in the world of a developer who may have come from building their own themes a certain way, that is the language they're going to use, and that is appropriate. But for many of us who are just kind of like, I build sites using tools, I haven't had to, I only touch code because of certain types of tweaking, again, in child theme now and code snippets and things like that. And lately, as you know, from these calls from AI kind of stuff. Speaking of AI, these are some of the questions I've had with AI about Ollie today, just trying to figure out, you were asking about the tools and things like that. So there's a long, maybe I'll package this up and stuff. So there's some really interesting things and comparing it to other themes. So I was doing a little bit of that.
Were you asking me, what am I missing?
Yeah.
What am I missing about this?
Well,
What's so good about it?
the thing that we're missing is some of the stuff that makes Ollie specifically special is all in the pro version.
Right. Yeah.
It's just, and I didn't realize that because, again, maybe being spoiled by using Cadence, where the free Cadence theme and the free does so much, and then the pro does build upon that.
Right.
What you could do, in using Ollie free, it's like this doesn't feel much different. Honestly, it didn't feel much different than most other.
Well, that's where, and I don't want to interrupt you. You're done with it. I would say if I had only looked at the free theme, I would not have been interested to go and even buy the pro theme. So if you know, usually the freemium model, to me, this would have failed because I from what I looked at is like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah, and so you can see my screen, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so you know, and maybe as we're at the top of the hour and all, we can play with some of the other, because I do have some themes that are full site editing themes that I'm attracted to for similar reasons around Ollie, but even in the free one. So Brixie, Nev, full site editing, Ollie, Raft, Spectra
Look at some of those
One.
after. Yeah, Peter, I think that'd be good. Like, well, I'm sure we'll have time
Yeah,
after to look at least
kind
one.
of compare them. This is an example of, again, one of the demo sites that I use, them now multiple copies of it. And yeah, so right now Cadence is running. If you remember, I have this little plugin, not plugin, the thing, it's a code snippet that I wrote, but I'm going to change it back here. Like, just say I installed and activated Ollie. So this is kind of what I went through today. So now when I go into here, what I'm going to get is basically what you just showed, Ray, like except for, you know, the menu is a little funky, that type of thing. But, you know, where it's like, okay, the home page right now is set to be basically just the blog posts, although there is a code snippet that is filtering out some things. So that worked out the same. So then the idea was, okay, well, let's go look at what it would take to create a new homepage. And this is where I can show, you know, what you come across with the patterns that are with Ollie. So right now, Ollie is activated, and let me just add the page. We'll call it home page. So now I'm in Ollie. So if I look at this, that is using the Ollie, very what you just showed, Ray, that Ollie template. I should clean up this top because it's going to drive me crazy. Well, here's the first one of the first things that kind of figured to do, which is the template right now that this is using is that pages template as by default. And I think I can do this. I went to change template, and then I picked page full width, no title. So now all that simply is going to do, should do, is now that homepage title is not there. I got to lose this, but this is like, I'm kind of used to now going into, oh, go to page options and hide the header, but we're not going to do that right now. We'll clean that up as part of the next thing. So now for this page, so now my my template is now preloaded with, I didn't add anything right now, but preloaded with Ollie, the page full with no title. So this is where, and we'll experiment here, but this is when you go to add, and now when we look at the patterns, this is where we're going to see all of the Ollie patterns instead of like the 2025, if you have 2025, and you can look at kind of all of them. And you can look at them by type, similar to a lot of themes. Again, this part here isn't necessarily revolutionary. I know one of the things that works behind here is, and again, any of the better themes are going to pay attention to this, so that when you start changing the colors, because of the way the CSS works on the background, those color variations are going to apply to everything properly. But say I wanted to come here, go to a hero section, and again, these are Ollie hero sections, so I might want to grab this one, place that there, and then I want to go to, let's go to not cards, but features maybe. Now what's funny, and this is actually a pretty good idea. All of these are Ollie content that you would then change, obviously, for your own site. But I could end up putting like a feature block. And again, not so dissimilar to what we've been doing with patterns. Just these are clearly well defined, well designed. They work together. If I wanted to put a call to action, I could drop that on the bottom of the page, and then when I save that, so now my homepage, please ignore the top, will come back, is now going to have those patterns dropped in. And then this is where, so for what I was looking for earlier, and where I got kind of hung up is that simple thing where I was looking for the zoom out, and I was told by all the rules that should be right there, and it wasn't there. Now where I ended up, if I came back to appearance, and this is where I get confused, and where anybody who is here is more versed with block themes and full site editing, is this, when you come to pages maybe from a different direction, for lack of a better word, and if I go to, it's calling up the pages in this list. The server's not fast enough. I need to up it. And one of the other things that's kind of interesting too, in terms of the speed on full site editing, is how many things are being rendered kind of live, and that does take some overhead
on the back end. You're right, not on the front end, but yeah, which is the same thing they said about page builders too.
Yeah.
How many times did Divi run out of space, or Elementor has run out of memory and things? Yeah.
Isn't that something? Now, so now that I've come at it this way, I'm wondering if I click here. Now, see, I still don't have the zoom out, and why the zoom out is nice.
Yeah.
I know that here's how I know I can do it, which is really
if you go to the page and then edit site from there, I think that's where you do it, or no?
Oh, edit site from the page. No, was I doing it from templates? No, this is pure. These are the templates. And if you want to see all the patterns, they're all the patterns that were available to me on the inserter are here. And I'm assuming, you could duplicate them, edit them, make your own. Now you start. This is not unique to Ollie though. This is the power that we have with patterns. I have been definitely crowing about the power of patterns, and how we have even patterns that you could sync, and the pattern overrides. We're not getting into too much detail of those that have locked in pieces of content and editable pieces of content, versus just dropping in a pattern and then editing it, which is what we would be doing on, for example, in this homepage example. So you're saying if I go back here,
I could be wrong, because I'll probably, I think if you go open the page up.
So if I go here,
your home that you published, yeah.
Which page are you trying to edit? I'm sorry, I was trying to.
So I was trying to do as simple as the homepage that I was working on, and then all I want to do.
I say view it, actually.
I think it's this. Is it this?
No, you just go to the page itself, and then you the 3 bars at the upper left hand side. Click on that.
Here?
No, on the upper left, on the left. Those 3 lines, the.
Oh, yeah.
That. So put that up again. Why don't you have the, probably because you have cadence in. It's not giving, it's not giving you the option, Peter.
He's on Ollie though. Go, Peter, open up that page just in regular view mode.
Where I just
Yeah, just open up in view, not in edit. Open up, just open the page.
Oh, I know what. Go to plus. See the plus symbol on the far left?
Yeah.
Sorry. Go there, and then go to patterns, and then you have a page option. Go down to pages. Go down to pages. Yeah, go to pages, and then click there. It'll open, and then you'll see all the options, and you can scroll down and see there's a home page.
No. I think we're getting 2 different things. So I think Peter is trying to Peter, he created a page just by dropping a bunch of block patterns on it. I think Peter, you're trying to open up that page but now you want to go into full site editing. And if I understand you, you want to see the view, the zoomed view where you can see the header and the
There's
footer
the
and all that
zoomed
kind of
out
stuff.
thing. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to come back here and I will go to plugins and I will deactivate cadence blocks. Now, by the way, and the reason I had it activated is because cadence blocks works in any block theme, just like Otter blocks works in any block theme, and so on and so on. So as long as something is considered, a block and you're using the block editor, then these tools should work. So you don't have to abandon things that you have moving from one tool to another. I think that's important to state. So now what I'm curious is if I come over here and refresh this, like this will go away. But see, I don't have the zoom. And this is what I was
No, that little thing next to the save, that thing, you can click that one. View page.
That'll view the page, but what I want is the zoom in, zoom out.
Right. Just go back to view page one more time. Just
that's a feature of the site editor, not the block editor.
Right. See, that's what I discovered today earlier, right, Eagle? So you have to come through here, right?
Right.
And then do I go to pages?
No, the second thing from that little square with an arrow, that gives you the option. So mouse over that. When you're on your welcome page.
So go back a page?
Yeah, sorry.
Okay.
You're going a touch faster than I'm sitting here looking at two screens trying to tell you.
No, go back to appearance editor.
Appearance
editor.
Well, you could just go to the actual page. It doesn't, there's both ways you can do it.
But this is the thing that I found to be inconsistent and frustrating because it was like all I wanted to do is go into zoom out. So I was doing nothing but placing the patterns, which is exactly what that is for.
So click on pages.
Pages.
And then you'll find your page.
And click on a page there.
Yeah, you want to look at your home page.
Okay.
And then
all right. So now you
click on the page on the right.
Just anywhere.
Yeah. Click on it. Okay, and then see that arrow box on the far right next to the save. Don't click on that, but the one next to it, you just mouse over that thing.
This is
that's the preview.
Yeah, there it is. Desktop, tablet, mobile.
No, that's not it. You got to go back to that editor.
Yeah.
And it's here in this thing.
If I click here, this edit button, a different.
No, that just goes to the page editor.
It's my favorite part of the whole demo tonight.
Yeah, this is
what's on the three dots there. Click on view and see what happens.
Well, I will do this. I will set.
No. Click on view for. Oh, I see. Go ahead.
I want to do this anyway because this is where it made it the home page, just like it when you went into read.
While he's talking, I'm gonna try to do this.
Yeah. So that was that. And now what did you want me to do?
Click on view.
From here?
Yes.
View.
Nope. Shit.
Yeah.
What do you? So Peter, I'm sorry. What did you want to do? I think
I'll show you. I'll show you.
Peter, it's back to what I first said. So go view. I found on my side. So just go view the page. Just regular old view that page that you have your home page.
All the way back.
I'll show you how to get there.
Like in pages?
Yeah, just in pages, regular pages.
Okay.
And open up your home page and just view it. No, not edit, just view.
Oh, view it.
View it.
View it's just going to take him to the front end.
Yeah, that's what I want him to go.
Okay.
This is the back where this might be 2 steps back. Now click on edit site. Edit site.
You're right.
Well, that's taking us back.
I stumbled upon it today. And this is what
click on that little arrows that go.
This is
there
what
you go. There you go. Jesus.
Right. Exactly.
The edit site link is new. That wasn't there before. So that's relatively new.
Yeah.
But also though, just to clarify, this is editing that template.
Right.
Right.
at the page. I wanted to see the home, and I know I could because I did it at one moment in time today.
Peter, I'm sorry. Click on the arrow thing. Just click on those double arrows again. Zoom out. That's the wacky one. Yeah.
Yeah. This is what I want to see, but while viewing the patterns that I'm placing, because I know I can do it. I did do it, and everything is telling me that I can do it.
It's
But
simple. It's intuitive. Anyone
We
can
have
do it.
geniuses on this call who can't figure out how to do it, and that makes me very happy. And I thank you all for.
Zoom makes
So,
sense.
so
and
it's
I'm
interesting.
not being facetious.
It's interesting to hear that Eagle's not using FSE. I didn't realize that.
Why is that interesting?
Because I haven't heard from you in a long time because
Oh,
of
I see.
not because
Yeah.
of you. And I just didn't know that.
So here's my deal. The only advantage that the block theme gives you is the ability to manipulate templates, headers, footers, and some stuff like that, and a little bit of organization around the patterns, the navigation part. I'm sorry, still SUCKS. And so I can use Generate Press Premium theme. I get the elements. The elements give me the headers, the footers, the blocks. They give me hooks. It gives me layout controls, way beyond what the block editor's given me. Block theme has given me. I can use the Generate Blocks 6 or whatever it is theme. The Generate blocks to control my content and my structure, and I get consistent block parameters, sizing, spacing, topography, backgrounds, hooks, responsive modes, links. I can create custom setups, all of that, and they're all consistent on every block.
Yeah.
Not this block. You use a paragraph block in the core thing, and you get a few controls. But if you convert and use a text block from Generate Blocks, you get a wide landscape of different controls. Right. And if you actually go to the Generate Blocks Pro, now you've got a class-based editing environment, and you can build global classes and other stuff that you can apply to your blocks. And you can actually, if you build that global class in Generate Blocks, you can actually apply that class to a core block. So I mean, the advantages for me aren't there for the block theme yet.
Well, I also think that you're hitting on the thing we talked about before. I think you joined Eagle too, which is kind of like, almost, it's like almost anything. I don't want to say almost anything, but like a good theme, you want to invest the time to learn a good theme and get good at it. We said it before. And, for me, Cadence has become my thing where I can pick it up and I can go running with it. So I think these, like, again, maybe Ollie has some stuff too, but I think Ollie is still sort of, like you said, it's sort of stuck or hamstrung by the full site editing navigation experience.
Mm-hmm.
At least for me, that's what really limits it a bit. Peter, can you show though real quick can you start a new page or maybe your home page? Sorry, I'm not trying to guide your demo, but I think one of the main things that I thought was interesting about Ollie, at least the free one, is it's not just that it comes, again, when I think of patterns, I tend to think of more granular patterns. I shouldn't say granular because some of them could be a little bit more chunky. But what's interesting though is that this one has as patterns these 7 pages. I think like 7 of them or complete pages you can start with. So can you show those? Yeah, so under patterns, and I think that's what Lisa was saying before. So under pages, these are like full blown. Kind of what Cadence I think has as well in that starter site thing. So here's like an about us page. Yep. So this isn't just a layout to me. This is a page, so
yeah, exactly.
I'd quibble with, is that a pattern?
Yeah. I mean, it's a pattern made up of patterns. Yeah.
To
exactly.
me, it's a template. I
A
agree.
template. I don't think it's a
Mhm.
pattern because
It's a lot of patterns, which makes a template.
right.
And I mean, the good thing is then you can look at how he did it, right? And I
Yeah.
remember that about Mike is that he would show you how he did it and a
Well, and
long time
that's
ago.
Peter
But
had turned me on to that other side. I'm trying to remember the guy's
I
name.
know what you're going to do because I was just about to bring it up.
Yeah, what's the name? You know it.
Tyler?
Yeah, Tyler.com. That's a great example too of like full page. Yeah, these.
Yeah,
mhm,
you can grab full content, you can grab anything within it. So you can either grab the whole page, copy entire page or any section in it. And here's the other thing too, right? So I'm going to copy this entire page. I'm going to go back to what we were just editing, which was this one. And not that I necessarily actually I wonder, can I, if I control Z, this will take it. It does. So I can drop, I can just copy and paste that right in there. So again, it's more about the pattern power of patterns. And then if you have patterns where themes to me, and I think this keeps getting reinforced and it's reinforced in Ollie itself, is that when the patterns work together and when they understand the color palette behind it and when you can change things like with
right.
with the Ollie pages, when I change the color palette, the purples will turn to green or blue
Right.
or orange or whatever I want, but the one I just brought in will not, because it isn't using the same
Mhm.
back end
It's not
CSS.
in the same system,
Right.
right? Exactly.
There may be
But
some,
you could, it would bring it up if you just if you clicked on something and you wanted to change it, you
yeah,
could go in and do that. So
exactly.
It would
And
I
and
don't
the
know. I showed a client how to update with it. I've showed
yeah,
a few clients now, and they're pretty happy with like once I waltz them around through the process of how they can update stuff and do stuff. So, but then that was a jump from a classic theme, right? So they're like, oh, I can drag and drop. This is cool. Oh, I can drop in a photo. Like they were pretty happy in that respect.
I will say maybe because we're in the pattern discussion now, so I'll bring up my other quibble about, and again, this isn't Ollie, but just the full set editing and sort of like what you're saying, Peter, some of the claims of it. And I do think there's an overblown claim around patterns as well, because patterns, people seem to say, oh, like you said, we've solved the problem of, oh, page builders are so terrible because you switch a theme and everything's gone when you go to this new thing. Like, well, you still have the problem with patterns too, depending on how they're implemented. So, for example, I have one. Can I grab the screen for a
you sure
second?
can.
Um, so I have my Ollie page. Where is it in here? Let me get out of here. Pages on pages. So this is just my Ollie page that has, yeah, it looks nice. It looks really great because Ollie is active right now. So this is the hero. This is whatever, 3-part section. Looks beautiful. These are all patterns, right? These are all Ollie patterns. Nice social media images, et cetera, et cetera. So again, I'm not blaming Ollie. This is kind of the full set editing myth I think that some people have is, okay, if I'm switching my theme, um, I'll switch to a block theme 2025. How's that page going to look? It's spoiler, it's going to look terrible because whoa, everything's gone.
Hmm.
It's
Yep.
depending, and this is what I was gonna say, depending on where you get your patterns. So if you go to WordPress.org, this is one of my beefs early on, but I kind of, think about, I understand it. If you go to, oh, not plugin, sorry. If you go to this pattern repository, these don't look so great. These do not look as nice as Ollie, but these don't have the baggage, or
Yeah.
I should say the baggage. These don't really have the dependencies and the kind of tight coupling with the CSS that the theme is providing. So that's the key. If you're wondering what happened, it's because all of this stuff behind the scenes, each of these has a class assigned to them. So just people aren't maybe as
Well,
well.
the templates are different, and the settings and the theme.json files are different.
Hmm.
That
Yeah,
that's why that's the power. And kind of right before I stopped sharing the screen, you could see where
I'll show this one
I
real.
had put the Tyler. I copied and pasted one of his pages, right?
Hey,
And
right quick, look
yeah,
up there at the top there, the arrows. There's the zoom
yeah,
out.
Yeah.
yeah. Look at you getting them and me not. What's
I
going
don't
on?
know why.
Well, I found a bug page that says certain plugins that you add uh, that throw their icons into that corner up there
Oh, man, that's what it is.
turn off that zoom function, and when you deactivate the plugin that turned it off, the zoom function doesn't always come back.
There you
It
go.
disappears. Yeah, it disappears.
So it is a bug.
Yeah. But just to kind of finish this off real quick. So like if I look at this cool rounded picture of this is a testimonial thing. Again, here's doing the magic. Their style, that is rounded, is style rounded full. So that's really coming from the theme, even though it's on a pattern. So this is like that's where sometimes I think, Peter, like you were showing, if you keep the plugin with blocks, sticking with blocks as opposed to patterns, as long as you have the plugin installed, you can use whatever theme you want, to a certain extent. I mean, they may change the styling as well too.
So I think that this is all a really good point again, especially for like a beginner who has said what you can and can't do and stuff going on. And a lot of times the selling point that I have found in WordPress meetups and WordPress training videos and all, and they talk about the ease of moving and changing from theme to theme, for example. And I always found that curious because it's like if you pick a good theme and you're building on it, what are you needing to change, right? So I don't think people change themes as much as sometimes it's presented like, isn't it great you can do that? Now, that being said, there is understanding the dependency between the theme and the content, especially we're finding with things like full site editing, where a theme developer like an Ollie, getting back to the topic of this meetup, has great design patterns. You buy the Pro and you're going to get 200 of those. So easy to pull things in, and then when you're in the styler and you're changing your colors and all, but just as you showed, Ray, but now you're in the Ollie world, right? Your Ollie theme with Ollie patterns, applying the Ollie style stuff works great. If you change that theme, it's not going to work so great. Then I run into the question, why are we changing themes? That's a whole, like, we change themes more here because we're experimenting. It's a very interesting kind of angle to it. It's like, isn't a site usually like what you start with is kind of how you build it, unless you picked a really bad thing and then you realize that, oh, I have much more flexibility with a Cadence or a Generate or an Astra in terms of controlling header and footer, and then how everything works.
You're right. I mean, you're right. Because some of these are arguments that are happening sort of in the academic realm of WordPress developers saying, well, it's this. Be right. It's like in the real world, the other 95% of WordPress developers, right? They're picking a theme, and God forbid, many of them have probably picked a theme from ThemeForest because it was the restaurant theme, and it's like, wait a minute, nothing is in here.
That's right.
Let me get back to Ollie real quick. I'm sorry, one last thing on full site editing about just the patterns too. The other thing, because we have so many experts on here too, the other little gotcha I've seen from full site editing, and I don't know if I'm doing this wrong, is so I'm back to the Ollie theme right now, and I've modified my navigation menu. So let me just go edit site, and this is one of the things I keep going. Okay, so I edited my navigation menu. I added this page, the Ollie demo page, and so I'm using the Ollie theme. If I switch my theme to another full site editing theme like 2025 and I activate this, I could have sworn no, it's here. I could have sworn before that it was not showing that page link that I added. Maybe I was customizing a header someplace.
I think the answer to that, Ray, is once again, it depends, because we can go back to Ollie and look at all of the header patterns that he's created.
Yeah,
right?
maybe that's what it was, Peter. Maybe I switched a pattern from that. So at one point, yeah, because that was one thing. Because one of the problem, well, I mean, now if I switch to Cadence, for example, well, maybe that's what it is. But that's probably an unfair test. But if I switch over here to a non-block theme. Again, why would you do this? Well, because we're doing a demo, and that's why we're going to do it. But the problem is, again, with these block themes, my menus, I've added it in here. I'm almost positive I've added it in here. The things don't match up, but at least that was my experience as I was playing with this. I want to do one quick last again, and this isn't slamming Ollie, or it really isn't, but I just want to, like, when you, maybe part of this discussion we're having today isn't even so much about Ollie, it's just evaluating themes and what's right for you. And I love everyone's, input on like what they use and why. But, I do want to challenge a little bit of these claims too about, when you see things about speed and all that, like it's this ridiculously fast, et cetera, et cetera. I guess it's like compared to what? That's the thing you don't get. So, for example, and this is probably not the most super scientific test, and again, results may change today. But so, for example, this is my home page, and right now I am using what theme am I using? I'm using Cadence. So Cadence is the active theme on this site right now. I'm going to purge my cache. So here's another key thing too. If I'm doing a performance test, I'm going to disable that. I'm going to disable that performance plugin, because otherwise that's going to throw things completely out of whack. So here's a Cadence theme, and I'm using Google PageSpeed Insights. There's plenty of other tools. They all have their pluses and minuses, but this is probably a quick one. So here is that homepage through Cadence. It's going to take a second or two, and there shouldn't be a big difference between mobile and desktop. Sorry, this is so exciting. All right, 97. Hey, looks really good. 1.4 seconds. Desktop even better, right? So that's this on Cadence. Now let me go back to that same page same site over here. I'm going to switch my themes. I'm going to switch it to Ollie. Again, it's supposed to be super fast. I'm going to re-enable that, my caching plugin just for a second, because I actually want to purge my cache again, make sure everything's nice and clean, deactivate that plugin so it's not caching anything. And then let's run this again. So this was Cadence 97, and this is going to be it with Ollie. Second or two. 1.4. Oh, this looks too close. Maybe it didn't clear it. Let's do that again. And it may not even be. All right, so it is Ollie plugins. So plugins. Sorry, activate this again. Purge my cache. Maybe that's what I missed. Yeah. And then back to here. So this one is Ollie. When I was doing this before, it was actually, we'll see if these results come back. Yeah, this is what I was getting before.
Yeah.
It's 2.6. It's not terrible. It's still 87, but is it faster?
So one thing to pay attention with that is they do have something called smart asset loading in the pro version.
Yeah.
So there
I'm just exactly. We're going off of this is the.
I know. I'm with you.
This is the free thing, Even this part, but I'll say even smart asset loading. I'll do one. I'll do one more test here. So we're on the Ollie version right now. Let me go inspect. Let me go to network to see what gets loaded. I'll clear my network. We'll refresh the page. Okay, so that's what's loaded. It's a little hard to see, but it's downloaded 635 kilobytes in 1.1 seconds. Let me just duplicate this guy, and I want to go back to the site. I know this is kind of boring watching me switch things, but let me go to. I'll go to Cadence again. Activate Cadence. In this case, I will clear the cache just to be 100% certain. So if what I'm doing, I'm just trying to refresh, making sure we have a fair test between these two. Okay, so now this is the Cadence version of that exact same page, same site. Let's inspect it. Network performance, just clear that. There's nothing there. And it downloads less resources. It's like 600 kilobyte resources, 873 milliseconds. So even that, the smart loading of resources, it's actually loading more. So
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, I'm not bashing Ollie, but there are certain things that like I just didn't see in the free version. I don't see the magic. I think the starter thing to me is probably the big selling point of it. You know, that the startup wizard. And the
Yep.
patterns do look nice. They really do. But as we were saying earlier, it's like, unfortunately, if you want to stay with, want to keep those patterns, you have to stay with the theme. So you sort of lose some flexibility there. Um,
But
so
doesn't that go for any of them? Like you kind of have to do that with any of them?
the patterns they do. That's what I was saying. My blocks are sort of the same too. If you load a block package, as a plugin, you need to keep that plugin active. But I think this has become the oddball thing about
Mm-hmm.
the value of blocks versus patterns. There isn't specific to Ollie. It's like, plugins, as much as plugins could be a bad thing of having too many, at least they do give you some flexibility if you're not losing anything, you can switch around a bit. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't
Well,
know. Any other?
we know Peter's staying with Cadence, right?
I don't have any reason to leave yet, although I am a little nervous that Ben Rittner is no longer with them. That
Oh, he left? I didn't hear that part. Did I
yeah,
come in too late for that?
a week or two ago.
Oh, wow. Any idea why? Where's he going?
Uh, to be determined.
Did he cash out or something or?
I all that I saw that was speculated is that he had a certain amount of time where he agreed to be with them, and that time had passed.
Oh,
Who bought them again? Like who owns Cadence now? Or is
Stellar
it
it's Stellar.
Stellar? Yeah.
A lot of tools like Give WP, and there's a whole list of them,
Right.
are now part of Stellar, and now Stellar has a whole package that they're selling is called Stellar Sites, which includes all of those plugins,
mhm.
which might be a great thing, except for now you're completely in the Stellar world as
Right.
opposed to, right? So
Future though, and that's where, again, back to my conspiracy theory, that's what
Mhm.
WordPress.com wants. Again, how do you
Mhm.
compete with Squarespace and Wix? What do those things provide? They provide out of the box, give me that restaurant website, give me that, yoga studio website.
right.
Click,
Yeah.
click, there you go.
Which
Yeah.
is why, again, with Cadence, and it'll be very curious to see where Ben goes, and if he has any interest in even coming up with his own other version or all. But what it does exist with the Cadence set of tools is their AI generated starter site, so that they have starter sites, which are templates that you would take and then you would you have to help people understand that a picture of a garden does not a gardening site make. You can change a picture in if you see a layout that you like, in a theme. What So you can get these starter templates, again, a word that gets used multiple different ways, that says, okay, I just like this layout, all these patterns, all these blocks together, put in patterns that are stacked a certain way. That looks great. I want it. Now I'm going to go edit the content. They also have the AI tool that says, okay, do you want to create a gardening site? You tell it, I want a gardening site. I want these. And then it takes its patterns, but then generates some images and content to get you closer. So it's not like the shock of taking something that doesn't look anything like what you want, other than the fact that if you can imagine, you'd be better off with a wireframe that just has blocks of gray where you want the images. But with the AI tools built into this particular Cadence tool, then it'll create content that's closer, that you then would still edit. You would never go with the AI generated content, but
You hope.
you hope. But it will look like a gardening site or a fitness site or whatever
Sure,
site.
they must. Again, I haven't touched the Squarespace site in years. I'm sure they're doing the same thing. I'm sure Wix and all of them are doing the same thing. Like, tell me what you want. I'll get those AI images, that AI boilerplate text for you, and
They all are, including, I believe now, WordPress.com, right? So
yeah.
so they are pulling this stuff in. The other thing we talk about as we're recording this, some of the conspiracy stuff. I don't know, has anybody, if you've used Telex, which is, do you know about it, Ray? So what telex.automatic.ai, which I will put. So what telex.automatic.ai, it's an automatic tool. Automatic is the company that Matt Mullenweg owns WordPress.com.
Sure.
And you basically, it will create a block for you that you can put into your website using AI, right? So basically it's a front end to whatever AI API logic they have behind it. And you can go and just say what you want, and it's prepackaged to go, oh, we're going to create a block.
This is gonna
Wow.
Oh,
Interesting.
you have to use it with WordPress.com.
Well, you have to have a WordPress.com account. You don't have
I don't remember mine.
with WordPress.com. However, there goes the not so hidden conspiracy, if you want to think about it. Because you have to do this, and because it's an automatic tool, they're gathering data on what type of blocks people want. Quite honestly, right? Yeah, it's like, what are people making when they're given the option to make anything that they want? And
interesting.
that's great information. That's great.
Yeah, it is. It's really good. But let's face it, that's kind of what they're all doing right now anyway. So it's not too huge.
Right.
I have to go. I have another thing I have to do.
Okay.
That's right. I think we kind of hit the end anyway. So this was good. I'm glad to hear everyone's experiences with this too. The Pro would have been nice to look at some point to see what's different there.
I asked the company this afternoon if they would give me a license, and I didn't hear back from them. Then I was thinking about buying it. The only other thing that we didn't cover, and I didn't even see, it wasn't obvious how it would work, is the header builder. So there's an Ollie plugin to build headers, but it doesn't require the Ollie themes, and that's important.
Not header menu builder, right? It's menu.
Sorry, right.
The menu designer,
Yeah, that I want to take a look at. We're talking, Peter and I were about doing like a menu showcase at some point.
Because we're also unhappy with that. So
it's totally manual.
Okay.
The big deal is his Pro theme has a lot of different patterns in it for the menu, but it's an overlay menu builder so that you for your responsiveness. It's not for your main nav.
Gotcha.
Right. See, and I'm just going to say this: the new Generate Blocks Pro navigation block blows the doors off of everything else I've seen, because it lets you create powerful menus and dynamic menus, and with their overlay feature you can create mega menus, and it's very simple and easy to use, and that's all I'm going to say.
Is GeneratePress
and adding on to it, Cadence has something too, which is including theme menu header builder that you can put into a block theme. So there, we'll do that in a future show.
Okay.
All right. So next month we'll talk about WordPress 6.9, which should be exciting.
Oh, okay.
Something new.
Yeah, but we don't get a new theme this year. I noticed. Like normally we've done a preview by the end of the year.
No, 2026. Maybe they'll sneak something in there. We'll see.
There are a lot of folks unhappy with the fact that it is during the Christmas season, like they used to do before, and everybody was up in arms about changes. It's interesting too, Ray. You're saying, some really interesting changes coming, and I'm looking at it going, nothing that I see is particularly interesting. So
the bar is low. I'm talking about
Okay. Oh, you're right.
He didn't make it sound like it was a high bar. I do remember that part.
I see an accordion block in core. I'm like,
yeah. Rounded corners and something. I don't know. That was another one. It's kind of, and they punted on. They call it punting. They punted on something that was going to be one of the big things.
The collaboration stuff, the real-time collaboration.
Probably that. Which again, there's more and more people coming.
We'll also have a state of the word to talk about and review. What? Those things are always not too exciting. So
we can comment on what he talked about in Canada, and also Amber Hines had an accessibility conversation with Matt the other day.
Yeah.
Which was both
Yeah.
interesting and completely underwhelming.
So more to come next month. But well, thanks everyone for joining us. This was hopefully
Yeah.
a fun experience for everyone. We all learned a lot from each other. So all right,
It's
have a good one. Happy Thanksgiving.
good
for
to
those who don't.
share. Yeah, happy Thanksgiving. Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye.